Okay, there. I left 2 fruits just for souvenir, just to show a little bit. And as I'm turning around, I see that this part a little bit still too dense, so I'm going to remove some foliage here. A little bit kind of dense here also, got to remove some. And then ready for repot. For potting, the pot I'm going to use is this one. I have this pot for the longest time in my collection. Never found the right plant for it, but when I saw this plant, I know this is it. This is it's a very tiny plant, but it's quite deep. It's perfect for this tree. This tree is kind of tall and I think it needs a deeper pot for this. So let's prepare the soil first. For the soil mix, I use 50% sifted garden soil, 25% sand, and 25% vermiculite. All very fine particles. This is a very small pot. It's going to dry up fairly quickly, so I don't want the mix to be too well draining. I still want the mix to have more organic material, to retain more water, so it can hold the water for longer. Otherwise, the plant is just gonna be underwater very quickly. Okay, now for root pruning. This cultivator, even though kind of small, is still pretty big for this plant. I used to have a smaller cultivator, like a toy size, but I couldn't find it after I moved to this new place, so I'm gonna have to use this for now. Being this, oh, you can see the mix that they use in the previous, in the bonsai store. They use a lot of perlite and lava rock, little lava rock. So it's always good to study what was there before to know. I assume these people, they know what they're doing, so this must be a good mix. And very tiny lava particles. I wish I can find that. I would have used that too. It's a good mix, but it's hard to find. Crushed lava rocks. At least I couldn't find it in my local nurseries. They do sell big ones, big particles, but that's more for like gardening, to pave the path in the garden or something. But I have not seen crushed lava rocks. Very dense roots, but the soil mix that they use is very porous, very light. So it was easy to do the root pruning. So there's some thick roots that I will be removing, like this one. Fairly easy to decide for the root pruning here. You can see very clearly that there's some kind of long root here that you need to remove. And for the rest, there's still a lot of fine roots here. So even though I just cut a big root off, there's still a lot of fine roots left, so I think the plant will still do well. You don't have to worry. Keep in mind that the pot is fairly small, so I had to do a little bit more root pruning. So I'm probably too wide, just gonna do it here. There. Just gonna rinse it off with water quickly. Okay, here we go. I already filled the bottom of the pot with the soil. Now I just need to accommodate the new plant and start filling it out with soil. There's some roots that start growing upwards. I don't like that, so I'm going to remove it. Actually, I think I can put more soil at the bottom. Whenever doing this, you might notice from the sunlight that it's a pretty hot day today, and it's around 3 p.m. in the afternoon. It's pretty hot and sunny, so whenever possible, please carry out the repot in a shaded and a cool place. I'm only doing this here because I get better light for my videos. So hey, there's this little root here. I guess this was underneath the soil, so there's some roots was growing here. Well, now it's gonna be a trunk. So okay. When working with miniatures, all the tools have to be fairly small, so I don't have the right tools right now, so I'm going to use this little wire, piece of wire to help me push the soil into the root. I always like miniature bonsais. But they're harder to take care of because such a small pot, you have limited soil to work with. Everything's smaller. You also have less room to make mistakes. Okay, that's it. And I'm such a small pot. I'm not going to use a spray of water to water it. I'm just going to submerge the pot into a container with water. Okay, I put the pot in a container with water. The water line is not on top, not covering the soil, because that will actually cause all the soil to flow out. So just gonna leave it there, so let the water naturally absorb into the soil, and I will wait 30 minutes. Okay, after 30 minutes to an hour, I'm just gonna use the mister to mist the top portion of the soil. Make sure it's wet. Okay, I actually pull the pot out of the water, let it drain a little bit. Make sure you don't want the plant to be standing water for too long. So just let it drain, and now here it is. This is my new miniature Cotoneaster Bonsai. It's no more than, it's about 6" tall with the pot. The plant itself is probably 4.5 inch. And you might notice it's a little bit taller now than when I started with it, because about, I would say, a third of an inch of the trunk was actually buried. So when we do the repot, when we remove the soil, that new trunk was exposed. So the plant looks taller now. I just like it. It's so cute. But what's gonna take some work is the watering from now on. You saw how I try to dip it in water. Yeah, that's probably the best way to do this from now on. I'll probably do this depending on how I see. At least once a week I need to dip it in water, and the rest of the time I'll probably just use a fine spray of water, a mist, just trying to make sure it gets well watered. But for very hot summer months, like right now, and also for, like I was saying, in very hot months, or even now after repot, when watering is very important, you might want to keep a plant, if you can have a tray of little pebbles with some water, and you put the plant on top, so to keep it moist. In my case, I'm gonna do is I'm using this bowl of sand, moist sand, and just gonna kind of sink it in there, so at least the soil can be maintained moist. You can even bury a little bit more. I mean, right now you can. So this is the trick. And of course, after repot, I'll keep it out of the sun for a couple weeks. And from now on, if you just want water, you can just mist Use a fine mist of water, and also make sure that the sand is not waterlogged. I mean, you don't need to have a lot of water. Just make sure it's moist. Otherwise, the plant will be staining water again, and that's not good. It's going to have root rot if you do that. So, okay, I'll post an update of this plant in a few weeks and see how it's doing. Thank you for watching.